Happy Wisdom Wednesday, everyone, and this week's book of the week is a classic that I've reviewed many years ago, but I decided to do it again because the wisdom is so good, and I wanted to reveal to you an interesting trend because I've recommended this book to all the mentees and people I've coached over the years, and I've noticed a pattern. And the book is The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Now, as the title suggests, this is in fact the 48 Laws of Power. You do not have to like these laws, but you should learn them because that's how the world works. And what Robert Greene is famous for doing is taking a wealth of wisdom and history from great philosophers, people like Machiavelli, and other people that you find in history, and then understanding what made them successful. And in this, more importantly, what were the laws of power they used to influence those? So something I found very interesting, and I love sharing these little factoids, is that one of the people who was an apprentice, who apprenticed under Robert Greene and who was mentored by him is the very famous Ryan Holiday, right? So it's not a coincidence that somebody like this writes the quality of books that he does. So Ryan Holiday wrote The Obstacle is the Way, Ego is the Enemy. He's also come out with a new book called The Lives of Stoics. And again, he's done such a remarkable job of distilling so much wisdom into these books. So I'm definitely going to buy that book. So now back to this one. This book is actually so controversial, it was banned in all the state prisons in the state of Utah. So if you go into Utah and you go to prison, you cannot find this book in the library because the inmates read it and they get too many ideas. That's what you should know about this book. So I'm going to reveal to you the 3 laws that people violate most often, because when I recommend this book, and I especially send this to somebody I'm coaching or mentoring, I tell them to go through the table of contents to see the laws really quickly, a quick summary, and pick the 3 laws they violate most often. That means the laws that they are actually going against, because that's working against you. And once you recognize and identify something that you are weak at and you're making a mistake at, you've just gained more power yourself in terms of how do you influence and move about the world. So here are the 3 laws that most people violate. Now, law number 1 is something that everyone violates, especially young professionals who are really talented and ambitious, and that is never outshine the master. You see, when you have a boss, or in this case a master, what you should not do is to outshine them. You do not want to be a source of insecurity and fear. What you need to do is work very hard to elevate them, to make them feel superior, make them feel confident, feel brilliant. Because in that process, they will pull you up and help you attain higher heights. Now, what you should not do, and a lot of young professionals do this, is in going so far to display your talent and impress them, you in fact do the opposite, and you inspire fear and insecurity in them. That's something you should not do. So the most important thing, especially moving up in your career, is thinking about how do I make my boss look good to his or her boss, right? Think above that, because as they get elevated, they will pull you with you. It's very rare in any organization, I don't care how talented you are, that you're going to essentially leapfrog your boss. Is that possible? Sure, absolutely. But keep this in mind, it's not, 9 out of 10 times that's not the case. Go out of your way, make sure that your boss feels superior, make sure they feel confident, and find ways to make sure that your boss looks really good. Because if your boss looks really good, if they're a good leader, if they're a good boss, they're going to make sure that you look really good, and they'll elevate you. The next most commonly violated law is law number 9, which is win through actions, not through argument. Now, something that a lot of people do is that they want to argue, they want to have, their words win when it comes to what's the best route, what's the best strategy and everything. And I think many of us are used to doing this because we sit in meetings. But the amount of animosity you might stir up in trying to argue and fight with people on that is not going to be worth it. And it's going to be much more powerful if you find ways to win your argument through actions. And again, you're not going to always have that opportunity to do it, but if you work hard and you think creatively, you'll find some way to take responsibility on and somehow take action to demonstrate your point. And that's the one thing I would tell you, right? It's about demonstrating. So demonstrate, do not explicate, right? Avoid the explanation, do not waste your breath, as we say. Take action and let people see. Because the one thing I can tell you, and again, as I always point to it, I read a lot of books on psychology and behavior change. The most effective thing that'll change people's behavior is not your words, it's reality. So win through actions and not through argument. And the last law that people most often violate is law number 29. Plan all the way to the end. And in an ever-changing market, economy, and environment, it is hard to plan to the end, but you have to find a way to do that. because the end is everything. And in your planning to that, you have to take into account every single twist, turn, consequence, downfall that might upend your plans and give glory to others, whether it's somebody internally or, more importantly, to a competitor, right? Plan all the way to the end. Think about every single scenario and option so that you know what to do in that moment, because a lot of planning when it comes to business, career, or anything has to do with if this, then that. By planning to the very end, you'll not be overwhelmed by circumstances and you'll know when to stop. And more importantly, when things do not go as planned, you'll have another plan and you'll know where to go at that point. And this is an important part because this is how you guide fortune, because you make the future happen because you think about it and plan towards it. And more importantly, think about the law that I just told you about earlier. You take action towards it. So that's your book of the week. Definitely go out and get it. Again, I've had this book since 2015. Worth having, and many times you'll go back and read it over and over again and again. I love how this is laid out because he's written not only a lot of great stories, but it'll have reversals, right? So a reversal to the law as to times when the law does not apply. So again, buy this book. You will thank me later. That's the book of the week. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. Stay safe out there. And as always, I'll see you next week. Bye for now.